inevitable. And I am
a cock.
Let's face it, Microsoft is long overdue for some criticism, like I'm long overdue for rehab. And much like you guys are also long overdue for rehab.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you get addicted
Salt.
Did somebody get addicted to
Salt.
Oh!
I've been feeding you guys far too much pony salt to the point that I'm pretty sure I've permanently messed up some of your receptors. So I decided to bring out the old Xbox salt equipment. I haven't touched it in quite some time, so it's really dusty and moldy, but nothing a little Febreze can't fix. But unfortunately, when it comes to Microsoft's empty promises, there's nothing I can do to fix that. There's no question about it, Xbox is in a much better place now than they were last gen. And for reasons like that, I give Phil Spencer some credit. You can tell this guy genuinely wants to make the Xbox brand better, which is why I can also tell that it pains him deeply to have to announce to people that there's going to be price increases, especially during a year where one of their biggest launches was delayed to next year. If there was ever a time to announce a price increase, now would not be it, especially when you've been hoisted up as the more pro-consumer option for the last 2 years. To kill that momentum makes no sense because, let's face it, it's not going to get better from here, especially when it comes time to increase the price for Game Pass.
It's already $180
for a year.
and if it gets $1
more,
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Xbox is preparing to join other major games publishers in raising the prices of its major new first-party titles from $60 to $70. Beginning in 2023, games built for the Xbox Series X/S, including Forza Motorsport, Redfall, and Starfield, will cost $69.99 USD at launch. While Xbox has noted that regional pricing may differ, it has not yet given specifics for other countries.
You know, a lot of people ask why. Why treat the customer this way? Why? Because fuck them, that's why.
And now all of a sudden that Redfall and Starfield delay is starting to make a little more sense. Delay it by a year so you can charge them $70 for it next year. You also notice that they're going to be charging Series S users the same price as Series X users. My god, just think about it. If none of the games Xbox had were delayed to next year, you wouldn't actually be paying $70 for them. This price reflects the content, scale, and technical complexity of these titles. A Microsoft spokesperson told IGN, as with all games developed by our teams at Xbox, they will also be available with Game Pass the same day they launch. Excuse me? What? What exactly changed about these games in the span of a few months to make them worth $70? If we were going to be charged $60 for it this year, what about the game fundamentally changed drastically enough to increase it by $10? The price reflects the quality of the content. Isn't that the exact same thing Sony told us? The original price of these games wasn't going to be $70. So if it's going up by another $10, the game better reflect that, and I highly doubt they will. Microsoft is now charging you the next-gen tax that Sony imposed on their players. You're gonna be playing the exact same type of games you played last generation, and yet they want to convince you the $10 increase is happening because these games are getting more complex and ambitious, when that couldn't be further from the truth. The very same Microsoft that couldn't get you a complete Halo game at launch has the audacity to ask for $10 more for their future titles?
Okay, I'm waiting for the punchline.
Look, the truth is Microsoft is the same type of company Nintendo and Sony are. They have absolutely no reason to increase the price on you. In a world where the majority of games are digitally distributed and yet sold at the exact same price as retail, should let you know exactly how greedy all these companies are. And I get it, they're not a charity, they're a business. If they see that they can get away with charging $70 like the competition has been, they're gonna do it. Even though personally, if you ask me, I think them not increasing their prices was the bigger advantage in the long run. But a part of me always knew Microsoft would increase their game prices to incentivize more people to subscribe to Game Pass. They called me a madman, but I knew ultimately that's what Microsoft intended to do. And guess what? It's working. A lot of people are saying, but Frit, Game Pass!
The leaking, we got the Game Pass, we got the Game Pass.
Alright, so yes, the Game Pass argument is very valid, but not for the right reasons. Yes, if you subscribe to Game Pass, you don't have to worry about paying full price for the day one launches on the service. It is a huge benefit. But I ask you, would it not be better if those day one releases were still cheaper either way? Does Microsoft really have to increase the prices of their games to make Game Pass look more enticing? And once they do get more people to subscribe to Game Pass, what's to stop them from increasing the price of that? Nothing. There's nothing to stop them. So if you ask me, I think you should abuse the living shit out of it before Microsoft completely closes any loopholes that get you an advantage. If you haven't subbed for $1, go do it now. However, services like Game Pass are not a solution. They're an alternative. And either way, there is no solution to any of this. It's not going to change the amount of people who buy the games, because consumers have shown that they don't care if you raise the price on them. It's why $70 games started happening on PC. Game Pass isn't a bunker we can escape to when it all inevitably comes crumbling down, and we all end up paying more money. And seeing as how Xbox guys have spent the majority of the year trashing on Sony for $70 first-party titles, and you cannot deny they weren't doing that, I would know. I was there. I expected them to blow a fuse. But instead, many of them chose to damage control this. By all accounts, they could not.
Keep that same energy.
Suddenly, it's okay that Microsoft raised game prices because they got Game Pass. Now, thank God this was just a minority of idiots on the internet. And unlike the PlayStation fanboys, they weren't celebrating price hikes. Thank God. But they most certainly got overly defensive when it came time to criticize Microsoft. So be warned, the cringe I'm about to show you is on par with what the PlayStation fanboys would do.
It was inevitable. Xbox charging $70 2.5 years after PlayStation did. There is no W for PlayStation fans here. They celebrated PlayStation charging more from the start. Xbox still more pro-consumer with day one games.
You're both pieces of shit. Yeah, I can prove it mathematically. Actually, let me grab my whiteboard. This has been a long time coming anyway.
There's no W for PlayStation fanboys. Who cares about them? There's no W for you. What do they have to do with the price increase? Exactly how is anything that they just announced making them more pro-consumer? These games releasing day one on Game Pass was always going to be the case. The only change that was made was an increase to the price of their first-party titles. The exact same anti-consumer move Sony made. What are we supposed to do, applaud them for Game Pass? Good job, Microsoft. You gave us Game Pass and increased the prices of games at the same time. Bravo! You know, when you think about it, after they did that, it makes Game Pass look a lot more enticing. How pro-consumer. Nothing about what Microsoft did here is pro-consumer. They literally stooped to Sony's level and used the exact same explanation as to why they're increasing the price on you. Nearly word for word. To argue who's more pro-consumer after they pulled off such an anti-consumer move is like arguing who's better, the Democrat screwing you or the Republican screwing you. Yes, it's very nice that Game Pass exists as an option, but are we really supposed to praise Microsoft for having that option instead of, you know, having cheaper games? Your response to Microsoft increasing game prices on you is sweet. Now I have a reason to stay sub to Game Pass. My God, you could scam this man into buying timeshare.
Free with Game Pass anyway, so it's fine.
Have you ever heard anybody in your real life ever say, oh, it's free with Netflix? You ever heard anyone say that? No? Or what about free with Disney Plus? Or free with Hulu? No? Then why does free with Game Pass exist? Where did this catchphrase ever come from? It doesn't matter how cheap it is, even if it's 1 cent, it's not free. I could name you 10 different ways to actually get free games. Look, I love abusing Game Pass. I resub for $1 whenever I get the opportunity, and everyone else should too. It's an excellent service. But I'm under no illusion that what I'm playing is free. If it was free, it would stay installed in my library without a subscription fee, but that's not the case here. Noticing Xbox are nowhere near as upset with Xbox raising prices as they were with Sony raising prices. Oh hey, that's me! Well, I mean, that's Femtanga, technically. Uwu.
The key difference is that Xbox fanboys fanboys aren't defending it but are dismissing it as not a big deal because Game Pass mitigates the impact of the price increase. When Sony did it, PlayStation fanboys outright defended it as a good thing for gamers, and we're attacking those who didn't like it.
Oh, no, Fred, you got it wrong. You don't understand. We're just choosing to look the other way. We're not defending. We got Game Pass. Why call out Microsoft for raising prices? We only do that to Sony. That's the only time it counts. Microsoft raising prices doesn't count because they have Game Pass. Have we really gotten to the point where we're just dismissing the increase of price to video games? How much are you willing to bet that all of these jackasses are going to dismiss the price hike to Game Pass when it happens? If you don't put a limit to Microsoft's price hikes now, they're gonna get away with a hell of a lot more in the future. And believe me, a lot of that's gonna come back to bite us in the ass through Game Pass itself. You see, I remember a year and a half ago, when Xbox announced that they were going to increase the price to Xbox Live, the entire Xbox community bullied them to the point they submitted and decided not to go through with it. I wish that was the same energy going on here. Instead, this time around, they're choosing to tell Microsoft, yeah, go ahead. You gave us Game Pass, so it's okay. What sort of impression do you think that's giving Microsoft right now? Oh, they're okay with us increasing game prices because we gave them Game Pass? No, that's so sweet. Let's give them a discount on Game Pass. No, they're thinking to themselves, shit, let's increase the price of Game Pass and the consoles next. Now this was the tame defense force. Honestly, they're all cucks. But at the very least, they tried using a valid argument like Game Pass and didn't act like complete buffoons. That was until a few tweets of mine caught the attention of some very interesting characters in the Xbox community. The Xbox defense force is on a whole other level.
Who is this cute little lesbian and how tight is her pussy?
Peter Avo, who is this guy? It doesn't matter. He's just another FAGGOT.
I'm telling. I said vacuum.
And also one of the 5 founding fathers of the Xbox Defense Force. Together they fight those who oppose Xbox. Even if it's someone like me who's well known for trashing PlayStation. Not even I'm allowed to say anything against the sacred name of Xbox. Well, I guess it's fair to say I struck a nerve with this one, because he went on to protect his tweets. He's the type who can certainly dish out all the criticism in the world towards Sony, but cannot stand a single bit towards Microsoft. It was honestly a very entertaining thread, and I'm disappointed he decided to hide most of it. But luckily, his other group of loser friends who can't handle any criticism about Microsoft had plenty to say themselves.
Everyone is talking about Halo Infinite's update and the Activision deal, and then there are some motherfuckers trying to make the price bump a big deal. You are the obsessed one here, my guy.
Well, first off, I did spend some time on Twitter talking about Halo Infinite's update and the Activision deal. Secondly, I'm not going to just ignore a price increase for Xbox. You really think I'm supposed to overlook that and ignore it? And third, I can talk about whatever the hell I want. I'll talk about the latest update with Activision, but right now it's time Microsoft receives criticism. They legit don't want you to report anything bad about Xbox, yet they're the first in line when it's time to criticize Sony. They had absolutely no problem making it a big deal that Sony was increasing the price of video games, even though they don't play on PlayStation. But when Microsoft does it, how dare we point it out? When it's Sony, oh, that's news. When it's Microsoft, there's better things you could be talking about. My God, my channel seriously needs to go through a purge. Are people like this watching my channel? I'm scared.
Ooh, I finally have a gotcha moment for Xbox. I'm sure if he makes a video about it, it'll perform worse than his pony videos. This shit ain't that funny.
I disagree.
Do you really think I'm sitting at home waiting all excited for bad Xbox news? You think that's what I want for the console? No, that's just what I want for Sony.
I knew it.
Now, I don't disagree with him. Pony Salt is 10 times funnier than Xbox Salt, so I don't expect the video to do anywhere near as good as Pony Salt videos do. When it comes to who's far more entertaining, Ponies take it hands down. But that doesn't mean there's no room to criticize the Xbox fanboys when the time comes. And I fully don't expect you to find it funny, because that's the side you pledge your allegiance to. Unfortunately, that's not who Daddy Frit is. I call people gamer words when they say dumb things, regardless of what they play on, which is irrelevant at the end of the day.
He's sitting there gaming on doing house chores. He just liked that, oh no, it's Alex guy, pointless and chasing clout for likes. Every time ponies lose out an argument, it's quote retweet time.
I'm a pony now? Me? I'm a pony. Is this what it's come down to? Well, first off, I gotta correct you. I don't got a 1080. What I have in this here PC contraption is an RTX 3080. And if I did have a girlfriend who bought me this just for doing something like folding laundry, you think that would be an L?
I see you are down bad today due to the nature of your whack failed flop tweet.
If it failed, why are you here?
To have you put a cork in it, kindly do. You seriously made a fool and a mockery of yourself. You are seriously looking real bad right now. All this energy for tweeting, yet no time for gaming on your so-called 3080 imaginary card you tooted about.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
You were saying?
Tell me you have no life outside of Twitter without telling me you have no life outside of Twitter. PC Master Race does many own any consoles, yet feels console wars thanks for running around the house taking pics.
Gonna cry?
Just look at what a little criticism towards Xbox gets you. You just can't win with these guys. Masters of the art of deflection. It's a required martial art to join the Xbox Defense Force. It would appear even the softest of my criticisms is too much for them. But don't worry, I have good news for those of you frothing at the mouth right now. It's over. See, was that so hard? Was it so hard to call out Xbox? See, we made it to the end together. You can do it. Yes, I'm glad Game Pass keeps you all safe, for now anyway. But that doesn't give Microsoft a free pass on increasing the price of their games. You can appreciate Game Pass for what it is and still do the other thing. Call out Microsoft. I told you you wouldn't die, you're fine, see? Without question, all of these fanboys were absolutely butthurt. Not a single one of them takes issue when I do this towards Sony, because they're usually the first in line to drop a like when I do it. But the minute you catch them off guard with a little Xbox criticism, and they show you their true colors, relentless, mindless drones. No different than PlayStation fanboys, really. But thank God there's far less of them. And can we please stop putting all our hopes and dreams into Game Pass? The solution shouldn't be we should all just start renting our games because games are too expensive to buy day one now. Do you realize how depressing that sounds to say? Overpriced games isn't an issue Game Pass can resolve. And likewise, raising the prices on games isn't resolving any issue. The industry isn't bleeding money by any means. Why are we excusing them when they raise the prices as they rake in record profits? And now we're supposed to consider being able to rent those overpriced things to be the biggest benefit of the Xbox brand? Really? You cannot convince me Forza Horizon 5 being $60 versus Gran Turismo being $70 wasn't a massive difference. It showed a competitive side to Microsoft. Here's one of our best racing games, $60. Sony, here's Gran Turismo, $70, and it barely functioned. The point I'm trying to get across here, I guess you could say, is Microsoft's sole advantage should not all rely on their subscription service. They should have a huge advantage in retail sales as well. Microsoft showing the very best they have to offer on a more powerful console at a cheaper price was an amazing way to compete against PlayStation. And Game Pass was just the icing on the cake. But now, it's everything, and that's the problem. Losing the advantage in retail price, possibly losing the advantage in console price, and then inevitably raising the price of Game Pass is the future I see, and it's not too far in the distance. Well, either way, I know I pissed off a bunch of you, and that's okay. I never loved you. But if you love me, you should like, comment, share, subscribe if you so choose to. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one.
Fritango sucks ass.